The players, though, are used to the hot weather, Chris, and I don't think that'll be much of a factor. Here we go, game to 15. Randy Stokely with a sharp angle hits it out, and very quickly Mike Dodd and Tim Hovland get off to a 1-0 lead.
The key factor when you're in the loser's bracket, you're not able to do the things you might if you're in the winner's bracket. When you're in the winner's bracket, you're able to jump serve, you're able to hit hard, and it makes you feel a lot better.
Smith and Stokely have come up through the winners. They have rested, and for St. John Smith, he's hoping that's going to really pay off.
It makes a big difference if...
loves it is simply because he gets to rest in the shade while the other team is playing a lot of matches in the hot sun.
Smith, well rested, goes to the jump serve. And Dodd is blocked by Stokely at the net, so that is a point. We're tied at 1.
When Randy Stokely blocks early, watch out. The block of Stokely sets up the defense of that man, St. John Smith. When Stokely is in the right position, St. John Smith knows where to go defensively, and thus he digs a lot more balls, and it makes them very tough to beat.
Bump set by Tim Hovland. And Stokely is all over it once again at the net. 2-1, they now lead.
The key for Smith Stokely is coordination. Now, Randy Stokely tells Smith to get over behind me because I'm taking the angle. He reaches into the angle. Good coordination on defense.
Smith once again with a jump serve, and he serves Mike Dodd. No surprise there. And this time, Dodd puts it away. We've seen some dominating blocking by Stokely at the net. Usually, Tim Hovland blocks for his team.
You need to alternate blocking because one man playing a lot of matches in the hot sun cannot do all the blocking for one team. He'll get too tired. So good strategy by Hovland and Dodd to alternate blockers.
Seldom do Hovland and Dodd go for the winning serve. They just try to put the ball in play and then take over with blocking and defense. Hovland blocks it, but it's still alive. Good poke by Randy Stokely that time. That is a side out. I think Hovland and Dodd are contesting to Bobby Clark, the referee, that maybe Stokely touched the net on his follow-through. Oh, Tim Hovland with a quick arm swing, puts it right down the middle. That's a side out. So Mike Dodd, who's been playing all day, trying to get warmed up and get into this match.
Well, most teams serve Mike Dodd simply because of Hovland's quickness and jumping ability. Hovland's best shot is down the line or over the block. He doesn't like to hit the angle too much. So if you're blocking against Tim Hovland, you must take that line shot.
Mike Dodd serves it to St. John Smith. Two-hand set by Stokely. And St. John Smith has got that shot perfected. Now, Hovland is tall, and he jumps well, but so can Smith jump very well, and he can hit that little poke deep over the block of Hovland.
Well, one of the keys to Smith hitting that shot, he has to loop it high enough to get it over Hovland. You can't hit that shot flat, or Hovland will block it back.
Well, St. John's been doing it a long time out on the beach. He's got all the shots. Another block by Stokely. It's still alive. Oh, great little cut angle by Randy Stokely. 3-1.
Beautiful defensive play by Stokely and Smith. Off the jump serve. Now, Stokely is going to block the ball, but one of the keys is getting off the net. Stokely will touch it, and then he'll retreat, and he'll use a cut shot. It's a shot that's used to combat the other two players being defensively too far back in the court. Nice play by Randy Stokely.
Mike Dodd with a hit, and once again, Randy Stokely stuff blocks it. They lead 4-1. They are fresh. They have a commanding lead. Smith and Stokely look awfully good here in the early going. So the players change sides on every 5 points, and as they take a break, so will we. We'll be back with more from New Orleans.
Mike Dodd go up against St. John Smith and Randy Stokely. And Lynn, I've got a bone to pick with you. How do you always get to do the Miss Miller Lite interview? Why?
Well, she said she liked the announcers, but the truth is she liked me. That's why I did the interview. Great attempt by St. John Smith at a defensive dig there. He couldn't quite get it up, though. Good effort. This is the first time the tour has stopped in New Orleans, and for the players and St. John, they like it.
There's hard to imagine your idols out on Bourbon Street, Lynn.
Actually, these guys are in pretty good shape. They do watch themselves. There's a lot of money at stake. And if you're not in good shape, it's going to show up in a hurry moving around in this beach sand as we see another side out. Now, there's an example of Mike Dodd trying to block at the net, which, as we indicated, is not the usual strategy for the team of Hovland and Dodd.
Let's check out Mike Dodd. Hovland staying in the angle, then moving over at the last second, but a good call by Randy Stokely, and St. John Smith with the cut shot to avoid the block.
Mike Dodd with a hit. St. John Smith digs it, but it goes over the net. And in two, Mike Dodd hits it. Now, Stokely was up and ready, but he couldn't quite block it well enough. So that's a side out. And perhaps, Chris Marlowe, that you'll see Dodd and Hovland hit a lot of them in two because they're a little bit tired.
Well, it's a very unusual play. Stokely was at the net, but he didn't actually jump. He was off the net, if you can be off and on at the same time. But that's a problem in coordination that time.
Mike Dodd moving, but he couldn't quite reach it. So it's a good and successful shot by St. John Smith. That's a side out. And right now, St. John Smith and Randy Stokely, an opportunity to win their first tournament of the year, probably their best opportunity. They've looked the best this week than they have all year. They have not lost a game.
No.
Down the line, Mike Dodd hits it, and there is no touch on the block. The ball is hit long. So it's another point for Smith Stokely, commanding 5-1 lead in this game to 15.
He put it in the right place, just a little too long.
Once again, I think Dodd is a little bothered by the blocking of Stokely, and he's hitting it right to St. John. St. John almost getting him up.
Well, Hovland called out line that time, but sometimes you don't click in, and Dodd hit angle, and Smith almost came up with another great dig. Great up.
They rub it off the block. That's a point for the team of Hovland and Dodd, and the crowd comes to live. They want to see a good game.
It's amazing what a good defensive play can do for your psyche as a player. This is a nice cut shot, but Dodd stretches all the way out. The key now, can he put it away? Does he have enough energy? Yes, he does. Off Stokely for a point, and a much-needed point.
Tim Hovland serves Randy Stokely. Two-hand set by St. John, and it's blocked by Hovland. Looked like Stokely couldn't quite make up his mind where to hit it.
Well, Hovland and Dodd have always been a very streaky team. I mean, they're a consistent team, but they can score points very, very quickly when they get hot.
Hovland, as we indicated earlier, is very quick, and that time he faked the block, but he was not quick enough to back up and get in defensive position.
When Hovland fake blocks, he's actually inviting the spiker to hit at him. He's hoping to dig the ball, backing up, and convert it. That time he couldn't. A good shot by Smith.
St. John Smith gets his arms on it, hands if you will, but he can't quite keep it in front of him. He's getting very close, though, to digging a lot of those balls. Mike Dodd and Tim Hovland, they've won the last two tournaments. They are really off to a good start this year, but right now they're stumbling a bit as that serve goes very long.
That was an awful serve. It wasn't a jump serve. It wasn't a float serve. It was right in between, and I'm not sure exactly why Mike Dodd tried that. Might be a little tired.
Oh, Stokely backs off, doesn't block it. He digs it, and then he puts it away with a hit.
I mentioned the fake block invites the spiker to go at you. Watch Stokely. He fake blocks. He'll get back with the hands up, and he digs the ball. Now the key, can he put it away? And yes, he can. A thumping spike down the line. That fake block can really be effective if you know how to use it.
Bump set by Tim Hovland. And Dodd hits it off the block of Randy Stokely. Hovland and Dodd, Smith Stokely, they've played each other probably well over 100 times in the 8 years that they've been together. It is a great rivalry, one of the greatest of all time.
Very competitive match when these two teams play.
Two-hand set by Randy Stokely, and St. John Smith rubs it off the block of Mike Dodd.
You can see when the defense guesses incorrectly, one man blocking, the other man taking the line, the angle shot wide open. It's up to your partner to call out that shot for you.
In two, Tim Hovland surprising Stokely a little and not having to contend with the block by hitting it over in 2. Good strategy.
Remember, you don't have to hit the ball 3 times. There's Hovland giving the signal. That's the blocking strategy. See where he goes. And they have one.
Hovland gets it up again, but Mike Dodd is off balance and he can't get it. So Smith-Stokely prevail on that particular play.
Remember, Mike Dodd said how many matches they played. Once again, you're going to see the little cut shot. Hovland is back, the little cut shot at the net. Hovland makes a great effort to try to get it up, but just couldn't. That little cut shot is a terrific play.
There's a timeout on the court. You're watching 4 of the great players on the tour, but there are many others. For example, Roger Clark is one of the strong players. School as you, Palisades High, and it's one of those like a Miracosta High School where there's some great volleyball players who even go on to play on the Olympic team.
Well, the school's about a half a mile from the beach. The area is perfect. They have good coaches there. Howard Instead, the high school coach, developed a lot of their players, and it's just turned out a lot of players in the pro circuit.
Oh, St. John Smith with a great dig. They keep it alive, but not quite long enough. Crowd enjoying that one. And we've seen this so many times. When Hovland and Dodd and Smith and Stokely play against each other, the level of play goes up another notch. Watch.
Beautiful dig in the backcourt, but Smith just can't turn and get it. Hovland and Dodd making the play. And if you want to know why they have sand timeouts for a play exactly like that, when you're sweaty and you start rolling around in the sand.
2-hand set by Stokely. Hovland is there. And again, Dodd hits it over in 2 rather than to set Tim Hovland. I bet he'd like to replay that one.
Well, Hovland had the nice, perfect dig, and Dodd thought he could sneak it by. Last 2 winning events, Tucson and Phoenix, Hovland and Dodd, but they have their work cut out for them today.
St. John Smith with a good dig. Stokely hits it in over in 2. What a surprise.
Great dig.
That time, Stokely decides to set St. John, and St. John says, yeah, that's what you should have done the first time.
Well, Lynn, I think Randy Stokely touched the ball on the block. When you get a micro touch on the first contact, instead of letting the other team know, you try to shoot it over in 2. Smith with the nice dig, diving save of the cut shot, then able to go up and crush it down.
We'll be right back.
Picked up once again, blowing out of the north to the south about 20 miles per hour, and we're underway, and we are indeed. Opening salvo, and it's an ace serve by 35-year-old Casey Patterson.
You know, as I'm looking through the stats and doing my research to open the season, the most amazing stat I had, Casey Patterson, 14-2 in domestic finals.
And maybe you're getting a little look why. Maybe he knows that he's got to get this in a hurry because the weather is threatening. Opening with a couple of aces. Again, 2 out of 3 in this championship. First 2 sets to 21 points, must win by 2. Teams will change sides at multiples of 7 points to accommodate for the wind and sun advantage. And we talked about the conditions all day long. And congratulations once again to Kerry Walsh-Jennings and April Ross. They've headed for the airport. They're on their way to Moscow to begin a long road trip, but they were the champions here and have won 8 straight AVP tournaments on the women's side. First look at Jake Gibb, high up into the hand. What about this matchup? You've seen these 2 teams. As a matter of fact, as Dane alluded to, it's the 8th meeting all time. They really know one another. What separates them?
I think the most interesting matchup is going to be the greatest big man of all time, Phil Dahlhauser, against the guy who's been kind of in his shadow throughout his career, Jake Gibb. How is Jake Gibb going to step up under the bright lights?
Phil Dahlhauser, born in Germany to Swiss and German parents, moved to the United States, attended the University of Central Florida, never played college volleyball, as neither did his teammate Sean Rosenthal. Very unusual, but obviously it has worked. Phil Dahlhauser with Todd Rogers won the Beijing Olympic Games in 2008, and Rosenthal was 5th at the 2 previous Olympic Games in London and in Beijing previously. perfect set into the middle, making all angles available. Why is the set at the middle of the court such a hard one to defend?
Because you can go both ways, right? You can take a good look. The court is in front of you, and
Yes.
a guy with the jumping ability of Sean Rosenthal really able to make that work.
Patterson Gibbs leading 4-3. Now the teams have changed sides. We'll see what happens. And right away, we see the impact of this gusty wind.
And the wild card, Casey Patterson, we talked about him. We're going to take a look at the keys coming into this match.
Sean Rosenthal to serve once again. And Kevin, let's get to your keys victory for Rosenthal and Dahlhauser.
There's so much wind, so much gusty play. How are they going to set in transition? Very key. Also, the healthy start to this match, healthy start to the season. This team, first time in their 2 years together, 100% healthy.
Ball just started to roll onto the court a little bit, thus the delay. Rosenthal serving. Rosenthal and Dahlhauser now on the good side. We're seeing two of the best setters, not only in the United States, but in the world of beach volleyball. One, everybody knows about Phil Dahlhauser. They saw it for years. What about Casey Patterson?
The guy's fearless, right? We saw on the play before, he absolutely chucked the ball right away. Maybe even a tougher play. He takes out, back set perfectly, no spin. A special setter.
Ball set a little bit inside once again, and a live arm from Rosenthal, ripping that ball through the wickets.
And this is a Sean Rosenthal when he's at 100%. He's a special athlete. He is in an elite field, 2-3 guys. You think about Pedro Salgado from Brazil. There are not many guys who can jump out of the gym like Sean Rosenthal.
And both Dahlhauser and Rosenthal had some injury issues last year, really curtailed some of their opportunities. That ball missed into the top of the tape. Just underway again, Patterson and Gibb. Now on the bad side in the near court, there's Casey Patterson leading 6-5. Right on top of the net. Good composure. That, I'll tell you, Rosenthal, who is a magnificent athlete, you know from playing a long time, that was not as easy as he made it look.
A lot of these plays are looking much easier than they seem. Even the set from Phil Dahlhauser, the feed, he moves behind the ball. Look at that. You can read the Wilson through and through on that set.
That ball came out perfectly. Tied at 6. Gibb going behind. What do they accomplish by that particular maneuver? Jake Gibb starting on the right and then going behind his partner.
Well, you're being proactive, right? So you're making the block move, you're making the defender adjust as well. And so all of a sudden, instead of a team setting up a play, you're making them change their play on the fly.
Deep lollipop down the middle. And no trouble at all, and very little resistance offered that time by Patterson and Gibb. And a very, very even start between two teams that know one another so very well. Teams will head to the sideline, the number 1 and 2 seeds, tied at 7. This has already been decided with Kevin Wong and Dane Blanton, not Paul Sunderland. A very good one going on right now between Phil Dahlhauser, Sean Rosenthal against Jake Gibb and Casey Patterson. Tied at 7. Now after that kill, Patterson and Gibb leading 13-12. Coming your way on NBC SN. We've had a torrential rainstorm. That is cleared out, at least for the moment. We hope for a long moment. That ball carries just out of bounds. Patterson started this match with a couple of aces to establish early momentum.
Style points galore with the look and also with the play on the court. Fun, and entertaining player to watch.
Remember, first 2 sets to 21, must win by 2. Once again, going behind. Oh, and right through Phil Dahlhauser once again.
And the set from Casey Patterson. This is a reason why this guy has really shot through the charts. He has played to the higher level each successive year. Very few people in the world who can put that ball in that place on that spin.
Boy, the ball really moving around, and Dahlhauser and Rosenthal are on the good side. At least they were for a moment. Now they will change sides as we take a look at the road to, again, both of these teams undefeated on their way to this championship match. And for Dahlhauser and Rosenthal, so they lost a set to Jennings and Kalinsky. That was a very entertaining match in similar weather conditions yesterday. Casey Jennings playing a superb tournament. He, of course, the husband of Kerry Walsh Jennings. Their 3 children here. Talk about Entourage, the movie's coming out. Their Entourage, the reality show once again. Wonderful family. oldest son, Joseph, celebrated his birthday here a couple of days ago.
Sundance was last week, turning 5, and then Scout, the youngest, the daughter, 2 years old.
On 2. Oh, and dumped for the winner by Rosenthal.
Casey Patterson teed off on this ball, right? Laid up very nicely from Jake Gibb, but Sean Rosenthal showing you some reactions, showing you a little luck as well.
Yeah.
Perfect dig right into the tape and over for the point.
You know, a luck because you guess about the right spot, but also unless you keep your eyes open and your heart in the game, you flinch a little bit. If you're not getting hit in the throat or getting hit in the face or whatever, you're not hanging in as a defender.
Preach on, Paul.
Big play there and all over this. Back-to-back defensive plays that time by Rosenthal, and now Dahlhauser and Sean Rosenthal take their first 2-point advantage of this opening set.
And you talk about it, one time might be lucky, but both times in the right spot. Arms are in the right location as well. They have got this team scouted, and they're in the perfect positions.
And Casey Patterson now planted. Ball's on 1, on 2 if you know, right on top of the net.
Yeah, set your partner.
Yeah, you gotta do something else. That ball's served out of bounds.
And here's the interesting thing about Casey Patterson, though. He is an entertainer. He is against the grain thinker. He's the kind of guy who, if he has more difficulty in situations like this, I would not be surprised if he goes right back to it.
Patterson again with a couple of aces to open this match, and working on a service winner, and Dahlhauser with no chance at all. There you see the impact of the 20+ mile-an-hour winds coming out of the north, blowing south onto Lake Pontchartrain.
Hold on. Tons of velocity into the wind, so dangerous. Third ace for Casey Patterson. This is a tough spot. This is really, these next couple of points on the bad side for Dahlhauser, Rosenthal, going to be a big test.
Perfect pass by Dahlhauser, the key to it.
And we've seen it time and time again. It's that transition setting. It's the imperfect pass, trying to make it a little bit better. And Mike Dodd, hey, who would know that it would come to be such a big storyline in this, the first tournament of the year?
Boy, a mistake there, but the joust that time won by Patterson. Obviously, a lot of mutual respect. Not only a lot of mutual respect as athletes, but these players are friends. They were kind enough to ask me to join them for dinner the opening night of the competition. And these players, Gibb, Patterson, Rosenthal, and of course Phil Dahlhauser, they're sitting at the same table having dinner together. Very friendly. But not too friendly. Not now.
Not now.
On top of the net, joust. What a reaction that time by Rosenthal. Wow. Dahlhauser using all 6'9", but again, really struggling to put the ball away from the bad side.
Rally of the match, both teams scrambling. You see the defensive prowess from even 6'9" Phil Dahlhauser, not able to put it away, but Casey Patterson taking over this match. Big question mark now. They go to the bad side. Can they score points on the bad side as well?
It's been very, very hard for both of these teams doing most of their damage. Boy, look at the close.
I'd love a deep high Mike Widmarsh. You talked about him. I'd love one of those deep high floats, and here we go.
Well,
we got it.
Maybe not deep enough.
You're right.
On top of the net, just way too much court. Jake Gibb talking to his partner and knows that he missed that serve, trying to aim for the back line.
And the reason you go for the back line, right, you make that pass have to come the furthest distance. You make the set have to come the furthest distance. More time for the wind to wreak havoc on the ball.
Tied at 18. Good swing over the top, but just out of bounds.
They missed one.
Jake Gibb wants a touch there, and Patterson, his partner, convinced that that ball was touched by Dahlhauser as well.
You see Jake Gibb saying the ball changed direction, and from our vantage point, we have a great end zone.
What did you think?
Point, for sure, a touch.
Wow, that's a big missed call. Wow, that's big. That's not big, maybe at 3-all. Let's take another look. Yeah.
Micro. You know, Al Skates, the legendary UCLA coach, said it's a touch if the referee calls a touch, and that was not enough of a touch, apparently. You're shaking your head.
Well, it's right in front of the referee. And Goodwell decided that ball hit out of bounds. Listen in. Listen in.
Listen, the ball is down. When it's down, the play is dead.
Casey Patterson's got a point. If the ball hits the sand before he commits the net violation, then it didn't. I agree with you, but I'd say he's arguing the point.
He's arguing the right point, but I don't think it did.
I agree with you.
Given his 100%, and even if he doesn't get this point, right, argue it, draw it out a little bit, give yourself a chance, and we'll take another look. He's on the block. I don't know. It's really tough to see there.
Very close. Set point number 1 for Dahlhauser and Rosenthal. And that ball served out of bounds.
Casey Patterson on the bad side now, right? He can't just grip it and rip it. Got to place it a little bit more. They've been going to Phil Dahlhauser. Maybe up the middle. In a fiddle, go up the middle, right? Make some hubby and wife, make some communication issues.
Well, we'll see. Going for the middle, but again, right to Rosenthal. Easily done. Chance for the tie. He got it. Wow. Rosenthal coming over to take another look, and they're going to check the mark. Right in front of the linesman, and she called it good.
I thought that ball was down, right? Dahlhauser pokes it over. I was getting ready for the prep on the second set, but what a special dig from Casey Patterson.
They're going to come over and look at the ball mark, but, you know, that can be deceiving at times because, especially in windy conditions, the ball can hit the line.
But when there's a little bit of water on the court, you will typically get a pretty good look at it. Wow, that ball mark looked out. Sean Rosenthal just wiped it away. But
we're tied at 20.
Maybe one call one way, one call the other, and
little karma.
Game on. What a dig from Patterson.
Still work and scoring on the bad side. Right to him. And back at you. What a read that time by Jake Gibb, but the defense and the anticipation from Casey Patterson here.
Well, staying patient. Yeah, this is something that throughout his career hasn't done a great job. He stayed in his spot, stayed patient. This was a little bit sketchy. I don't know if I don't set that ball if I'm Jake Gibb.
I thought that was a very unusual choice. Set point number 1. Sean Rosenthal has such a wicked arm swing. You say, hey, that ball went right through Jake Gibb's arms, but boy, has he got a great arm.
And that's what he should have done the play before, right? Perfect pass, perfect set. He has shown time and time again he can go right over the top of Jake Gibb.
Both teams have had 1 set point respectively, but big advantage here. Over to the good side go Gibb and Patterson.
Little deeper.
Change of pace. Rosenthal was dug in and didn't make a move.
And why he didn't make a move is he didn't give it up. Casey Patterson came in 100%, looked like he was going to hit 100%, and at the last minute put the brakes on, and this ball landed about 6 inches off the net. Nearly undiggable.
That's a really good point you made, Kevin, because if I'm a defender looking at Casey Patterson, I'm going, wait a minute. He's getting ready to rip this ball. Set point number 2. Casey Patterson getting the job done at the defensive end on the bad side. And we've got a little fireworks. Both teams not really happy with the officiating crew.
They've done well this year, but they're still looking for their first win, which is frustrating since in 1988 they won the first 6 events. There's an ace.
No, she called it out. Wait a second. I think the referee overruled her. The ball right on the line. And they're going to give him an ace. They're questioning it in the corner.
And Tim Hovland is saying, okay, Mike, let's not get upset. No problem. There's the right call. And Hovland's the one who always gets upset.
He's a calming influence on Dodd.
Chance for a point right here. And it is. Smith and Stokely just gliding along right now in command.
Well, it's obvious to me right now, Lynn, that Hovland and Dodd are very, very tired, and they're going to take a short break.
They are playing for first place. The loser of this game will finish second here in the Miller Lite New Orleans Open. And this is a two-day doubly league.
Third place, Karch Karai and Brent Frohoff. Kind of a disappointing fourth place. Good finish for Steve Obradovich and Craig Mouthart. And Robert Chavez and Steve Rotman, their best finish of the year in fifth.
So those are the teams who are trying to break into the top, but it's Hovland and Dodd and Smith-Stokely. They've been the premier teams for the last few years here on the Pro Beach Volleyball Tour. Jump serve by Randy Stokely. That time it is clearly out, and you heard the no call. The team of Hovland and Dodd knew it. They serve Randy Stokely. Two-hand set by St. John, and Stokely gets it down.
You know, normally you see a team try to serve hard to make the other team make some errors, but Hovland and Dodd, they serve so many lollipops, and what I mean by a lollipop is just a very easy serve. They try to set up their block, but I think a lot of the time they could serve a little harder, make it a little tougher for Smith-Stokely.
Down the line, around the block, Mike Dodd hits it. Good shot.
Just to complete that thought, Hovland and Dodd, they want to serve easy because they want you to pass it up to the net and get a good set. If you serve hard, the other team shanks the ball, then they're caught out of position. So they intentionally serve the lollipop.
Well, they need to serve the lollipop and do something with it because they are down right now, Hovland and Dodd.
Boy, that's an easy lollipop. But they're in position.
Randy Stokely digs it, but it goes into the fourth row. So the point goes to Hovland and Dodd, and the crowd finally got to touch the ball. Game is to 15. Hovland and Dodd need to come back a little bit here. And St. John Smith once again with that excellent shot over the block of Tim Hovland, and that's got to be frustrating for the Hov.
And another great call by Randy Stokely. They're really clicking. Said high line, St. John able to execute.
Good dig by Smith. Stokely hits it over and out.
Once again, he had to hit the ball over because he touched the ball on the block. You only are allowed 3 touches in outdoor volleyball. Indoors, you would have had to set that ball. You would have had 4 contacts.
Dodd is there. Chance for a point. Smith read the shot, but Dodd made it so good right on the line that Smith couldn't get it up.
Once again, the cut shot on transition. Dodd makes a good defensive play, gets a good set, and now he'll just tuck it in inside, fake line. Smith almost with an acrobatic play, but no way that ball could have been retrieved.
So are they making a move, Hovland and Dodd? Well, right now, Smith and Stokely still with a good lead. There's the block, and that's another point. So they score 2 straight right there. They still, however, trail 9-6, and we'll be right back.
Bio, he said to his wife as they carried him off, his wife rushed the scene. He said, "We'll still go dancing tonight, honey." So he's got a great sense of humor in that situation.
So back to the volleyball action. We're watching St. John Smith and Randy Stokely trying to get their first win of the year. Hovland and Dodd, their opponents, have won the last 2 Miller Lite tournaments.
No!
And Mike Dodd hits it out, so that is a point for Smith-Stokely. So as Hovland and Dodd were making a move, now here comes Smith-Stokely again.
Well, for Smith-Stokely, they have to keep on Mike Dodd. I think he looks a little more tired than Tim Hovland. They've played 6 long matches, and they got to wear him down. I don't think it's a good idea to serve Hovland.
I got it.
But they might score out of it.
It's in. One of the best points of the match is right there, and certainly very tiring for the team that didn't win it.
Well, they challenged Hovland a couple times on these couple of plays. Hovland blocks it. It goes right to Smith. Now Hovland's going to back off. I told you he's very good at this play. Digs it back up. Strategy-wise, they could be doing that to Dodd. Make Dodd do that 3 or 4 times and try to tire him out. But very good play by the team of Hovland and Dodd to keep that rally alive.
So as the game progresses, they seem to be getting a little better, a little more into the game. That's a point right there. You knew when these 4 players hook horns that it would be an outstanding game, and somehow or other it would be close, and it's starting to get very close now. Chance to make it 10-8. They do.
The coordination of Hovland Dodd working now. Hovland blocking at the net. He's back up there, and Dodd in his familiar defensive position behind. Dodd makes the right choice. It's the angle play. And then Dodd still with enough power to go up and rip it down the line.
And the crowd really coming alive. They realize that you've got 4 great players really going at it. These teams have been together for 8 years each. That's every week. Players are looking for a new partner. They talk to each other on the phone during the week, and there's a lot of changes made on the tour.
Well, you see with Hovland and Dodd and Smith-Stokes, they've both been together, as you said, Lynn, for 8 years. They're the 2 most successful teams on the beach, so the younger players should learn from that formula.
A big side out that time by Smith-Stokes. They really needed it to stop the momentum of Hovland and Dodd. Randy Stokes, last year voted by his peers as the best setter and the most valuable player on the tour.
Great shot.
So Stokes takes a page from the Tim Hovland strategy, backs off from the block and digs the ball.
Love the fake block when the ball's off the net. Stokes gets back. Keep your hands up when you fake block because you're shallow. You need the depth. And he puts a little cut shot in for a point.
Shank. He hits the ball out on the jump serve. That'll happen occasionally with the jump serve. Timing has to be just right to hit it well. Tim Hovland resting right down there at the base of the net.
He's huffing and puffing a little, isn't he, Lynn?
Sure is.
Wouldn't even touch it all day long.
Come on! Angle!
Dodd's got it, and he's set, and he hits it, and it falls in. That's a point for Hovland and Dodd. So that now makes it 11-9. They have really come back, Hovland and Dodd. They look tired, but they are playing perhaps the best of the 2 teams at the moment.
Great defensive play by Dodd. Almost a simultaneous block. It's off the Kong of Randy Stokes.
We'll be back with more from New Orleans.
Know each other well enough. Head coach Tyler Hildebrand told me that these 2 teams actually practice once a week during this offseason, if you can imagine it.
Thank you, Dane. Yeah, as we mentioned, dinner friends, getting together, no families, one another. All 4 players are very proud papas.
And you talk about the reason they're hanging out. They're on the road. The carnival gets on the road. 10 weeks they'll be gone. 2 days back at home within the next 10 weeks. You better spend some time with the Americans on the road.
Rosenthal ripping the ball down the line. You know, that opening set was so close, and both teams making clutch plays. But I thought the key was Patterson digging a couple of balls on the bad side.
Yeah, and the level of play so high, right? This is the first tournament of the year, crazy conditions. We are not seeing any unforced errors. We are seeing great high-level play.
And Dane was exactly right. As you could see Sean Rosenthal walking back to serve, it was like he was walking on the sidewalk. I mean, we're used to walking on the beach and digging in a little bit and having it take some extra effort. This is hard-packed. And a miscue, and doubly important by Phil Dahlhauser, because that was a very poor pass from the good side. Good side, if you're wondering, is the downwind side.
And it's that deep serve again, right? The Mike Whitmarsh serve it up, let the wind do its effects on it, and paying off to perfection, finally getting it deep enough.
And it also gives Jake Gibb time to get up to the net
right
into good blocking posture. And good change of pace and roll over the top. Let's get you some of the numbers. That was the 9th kill for Rosenthal. Dahlhauser with 8. Very balanced throughout the course of this match. Patterson with 6 kills and Gibb with 7. 3 aces for Casey Patterson. That's a huge number in that opening set. Oh, good shot off the inside hand that time of Jake Gibb, and Dahlhauser with a kill in the point.
And that's really, you look at Jake Gibb and all the great things he does in the court, a great blocker, he's a great setter. The one weakness you kind of see is maybe these off plays where he gets a bad pass, he's out of system, doesn't have that dynamic shoulder that can blast his way out of trouble.
That serve missed, and then again, a couple of points, one by Dahlhauser on a bad pass, and this by a missed serve. So keeping track, very importantly, of points given up on the good side as we take a look. Mentioned that this was the first of 7 tournaments coming your way on NBC and NBC-SN on the AVP Tour. Take a break for a while, and we'll go to cities like Chicago and New York, back to Southern California. And a winner by Casey Patterson, and there was his 4th ace.
And you see him picking up his success in final matches. This is a guy who loves the bright lights. 14-2 career domestic record in the finals.
Another ace. Patterson putting on a show here from the service line, and now after winning the opening set 23-21, a quick 6-3 advantage here early.
And a guy who had a great professional career indoors, played a few years in Puerto Rico. You talk about hard-packed courts, you talk about big jump serves. This guy might be the best on tour.
You think he's got the best serve on tour now?
He's got the best shoulder. He's got such a dynamic shoulder.
And when you say shoulder, you mean his ability to both hit the ball as an attacker and be effective from the service line.
He's got the combination of velocity as well as accuracy, which is so very special.
That ball served out of bounds by Dahlhauser. Both of these teams headed out for a long, long road trip, as we mentioned during the Women's Championship. They'll leave later today, go straight to Moscow, and then on to Croatia from there, and then to Norway. Phil Dahlhauser put some bags. I follow him on Facebook, and he put out, he said, I'm packed for a 10-week trip, ready to go. And you know, when you just play in a pair of board shorts, you don't really need to take a lot, but he had some big bags with him. Oh, look at that. The underhands from Rosenthal. Maybe there's some of his Raiders here. And it scores him a point, right? The old switcheroo.
Love it. Game got in a nice little rhythm. Favoring Gibb. Patterson switches it up. Yeah, Rosie Raiders, 8th Street, Hermosa Beach would be very proud of that cerebral play. Got to go again, right?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. And off the block and out of bounds. I'm not sure we'll see it again, but it was nice to see it a couple of times. See, serving the ball in these kind of conditions, not a bad idea. A couple of points there from the bad side. Very entertaining indeed. Windy, tough weather day here on the outskirts of New Orleans, on the lakefront, Kenner, Louisiana specifically, with Olympians Kevin Wong and Olympic champion Dane Blanton. I'm Paul Sunderland. Thanks for joining us. And on the tap down, Jake Gibb and his partner Casey Patterson scoring once again on the bad side, and now with their biggest lead of this second set, 9-6. And that ball turned out of bounds. Another unforced error, back-to-back points. And I'm emphasizing good side, bad side, because these are almost points with a gold star over them when you score from this end.
The wind is so strong in one direction. Can't make mistakes on the good side. You really can't. And that kind of play, even though it was with a good emphasis at the end, that's almost expected on this side. You've got to be on the offense, and you've got to be scoring points when you've got the win in your face.
Once again, the first couple of sets to 21 points. The third set, if necessary, will be played. Good layout that time by Dahlhauser, will be played to 15. And teams will change sides, multiples of 7 points to even out.
Blocking. Not effectively.
Right, but is that a sign of desperation, or that's really unusual?
Yeah, very unusual. We haven't seen it yet. We usually don't see that, but in this kind of win, it allows Dahlhauser to really grip it and rip it and focus on the serve.
Got it. Jake Gibb working on Rosenthal. And now the advantage is 11-7, and this was beautifully executed as Rosenthal had, at least earlier on, had gotten the better of this matchup.
And a couple of stares through the nets at the end of these plays. Jake Gibb, that's his former partner on the other side, the partner that dumped him for Phil Dalhauser.
Dane, let's send it down to you quickly on the court side.
Yeah, just like you said, Kevin, there's a little chippiness, it seems like, going between these athletes down here, which is a little bit uncommon. But there you see Phil throw that ball. The wind is so inconsistent. Usually you have a consistent wind, so you know where to throw the ball. That's why you're seeing everyone switch it up. You saw that underhand by Rosenthal. It's inconsistent. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's the name of the game is keeping the ball in the court.
13-7, big advantage here, and smart play by Dalhauser. Limit the number of possible contacts and the amount of time the ball is in the air. But this is part of the sport. I mean, internationally, a lot of the sites are very protected, but all of us, you in Honolulu, me up in the northern part of Malibu, and the wind blows up in the northern part of Malibu, we get very used to playing in these kind of conditions. You can hear the wind. Yeah, ripping into the cross court. That was one of your keys. Would he really be effective at the offensive end?
And you know, I've been so impressed with what Jake Gibb has done here. He's been in Phil's shadow throughout his career. You look at what he has, a 15-50 record. Phil's knocked him out of 36 tournaments. He's lost 16 times in finals, but right now he looks fearless.
Right here.
Phil casts a big shadow. And ripped into the cross court once again by Casey Patterson.
And Casey Patterson's doing a lot of the legwork as well, right? You can't expect to get this much contribution from someone who's not getting served, but we see 5 aces. We've seen him lay it out on defense as well.
And a shank pass by Dalhauser. Wow, this is turning into a rout. Patterson and Gibb doubling up, leading 1-0. And here 16-8. Casey Patterson, now 35 years of age, lives in Huntington Beach, the father of 3. And that ball just missed out of bounds. So Dalhauser and Sean Rosenthal, how do they get back into this? Because the 7-point advantage.
Right, they had a little conversation there, and it looks like Phil's going to go back up to the net, look for that deep high float. Maybe test Casey a little bit. Back to Gibb. He's been unstoppable.
That ball drifting around, and Dalhauser got it this time. That ball really moved as Jake Gibb tried to make a good swing.
Phil, really what turned him to the dominant blockers, this late seam move. You're going to see him, he's supposed to be blocking line, but that right-hand press is right in front of Rosenthal. That really, you're not supposed to do that. Hitters aren't used to doing that.
Head's over the net.
Of course.
His head's over the net.
His belly button's over the net.
6'9", but a superior athlete, can really jump. On 2, and a quick touch there by Dalhauser, but his teammate Sean Rosenthal unable to follow up.
And Casey Patterson once again, right? Finding a way to help out, taking the pressure off his guy when he's getting served.
Patterson now with 9 kills, but 6 aces. That has been the difference in this match. Missed there by Jake Gibb. We will step aside, and Jake Gibb and Casey Patterson, the #1 seeds here on the AVP Tour, with a big lead over Phil Dalhauser and Sean Rosenthal. There's 7 AVP tournaments coming your way on NBC and NBCSN on the year. The wind continues to howl, and right now, Phil Dalhauser and his partner Sean Rosenthal, as they square away who's supposed to be serving, they've got to go on a run here on the good side.
Backs against the wall, but on the good side.
And there's #1. Well, they'll be on that side for 7 points. In my mind, they need 6 of them.
Gets the ace, misses the second into the net. Sometimes these next plays, the key ones, giving yourself another chance to serve on the good side. You know, really, this is a Dalhauser-Rosenthal team that's really taken their eye off the ball. They don't have that intensity. They don't have that leadership, and Patterson Gibb do.
19-12 is the advantage. And that'll, to me, that'll just about do it. Casey Patterson and Jake Gibb have done a magnificent job of ignoring the conditions, forgetting all this business about good side, bad side, and just getting the job done. First set, back and forth. Dahlhauser and Rosenthal actually had a set point, but could not capitalize, and here it is. Championship point. One save, but still a lot of margin for error right now for Gibb and Patterson. 20-13 is the advantage.
It's match point, everybody. Start that slow time.
Got it. Ace serve by Dahlhauser.
Down by a bunch of points. Who better to have at the line than the perennial server, best server here domestically, best server internationally as well. Long way to go.
Yeah, and only one more point on the good side. Patterson for the win. And the unforced error, and that'll do it. What a superb performance. It all came down, in my opinion, to getting the momentum.
Randy Stokely and St. John Smith. Smith and Stokely with the quick lead early, and now Dodd and Hovland trying to come back. Dodd, an experienced veteran in all sports, played college basketball, outstanding college volleyball player.
No one. Come on, go. Okay. That's it.
Good shot that time. And Hovland and Dodd have a side out. So Smith-Stokely now with a chance to come back and score.
One thing you don't normally see when Mike Dodd digs a ball, usually he controls it. This one flies over the net. When it happens, it's a free ball for the other team. Smith says, over him. Stokely does, no one there. Hovland and Dodd usually very good at controlling their defensive plays.
Chance for a point. Easily dug by Dodd. And put away. So Smith-Stokely cannot capitalize on an opportunity there for a point.
Just going to be the big plays that decides this match. You come up with them, you win. If you don't, you lose. Stokely just has to get it over. And Stokely's going to try the fake block, but Dodd turns it outside even farther than Stokely expects. The ball goes down the line. Good rule, usually when a spiker is inside, he'll hit it towards the line. When he's outside, he'll hit towards the middle of the court.
The ball goes long. St. John Smith hits it just long. So that's another point for Hovland and Dodd. They now have 10, and they only trail by 1.
And they have to be feeling the pressure. Hovland and Dodd were trailing 9-3. They're back to within 1. The pressure all on Smith-Stokely now.
Terrible feeling when you have a big lead and you see it slipping away. Smith digs it. It's still alive. Two-hand back set. Oh! Smith puts it down. Hovland and Dodd aren't happy.
No, they're calling him over, I think, Len. Bobby Clark said he went over the net. I believe he didn't fan it. He went over. Let's see who they give the ball to. Nope, they give it to Stokely, so I guess he was not over.
It's a good dig by St. John. And he puts it away. So they come back with a big point, and they take the lead now at 12-10.
One thing about Smith, he's so fast in the sand. He's able to get in good position. Set is to Hovland. Watch Smith run this ball down. Hardly any players can make that play. Then he gets up on his offside. He's not a great spiker from the left side. Still able to kaboom it.
And they call timeout on the court. Smith-Stokely lead it by a score of 12-10. The game is to 15. And the crowd here at West End Park in New Orleans, they love it. Randy Stokely and St. John Smith, they lead 12-10 over Tim Hovland and Mike Dodd. Smith-Stokely looking for their first one of the year. Hovland Dodd, they've won the last 2 tournaments. Bump set by Dodd. It's blocked, and St. John Smith can't run it down. So that's a side out.
A little surprised Randy Stokes is not using his jump serve. He's into the wind. He's a little fresher than Hovland and Dodd. And I'm very surprised he's not hitting that ball a little harder on the serve.
Two-hand set by Stokes. Hovland's got it. And a great shot by Hovland over the block of Stokes, and he loves that, doesn't he? 12-11.
These two teams have such a great rivalry. They love to taunt each other and challenge each other. Hovland almost scoops this ball up. Look at that. Almost throws it up, but gets it up. And then softly into the corner. A great placement.
Chance to tie it right here. Good little angle. You heard Stokes yell to St. John angle. And Smith followed directions well. Side out. So they are serving now, leading 12-11. St. John Smith, a real spokesman for the beach volleyball tour, and his experience is respected by everyone.
Didn't go over.
It never went over. Stokes really didn't need to block it. Hovland just swung at it and hit it into the net.
Sometimes on a play like this, you don't get an approach. Hovland is just going to be standing here at the end of this play when he gets the hit into the net. The joust is up. Now look at Hovland in the yellow trunks. He turns too soon, cuts the ball into the net, and Smith Stokes get it. Big play here.
Dodd's got it. But so does St. John. Oh, great shot by Stokes, and that is a point for the team of Smith Stokes. They now lead 14-11 as they close in on their first win of the year.
When you shoot the ball on two, make sure the other team is out of position. Dodd digs the ball. Randy Stokes at the net. He's going to take a little look. Watch him right there. He sees the open spot. If you shoot it over in two, you better make sure you make it.
Stokes and St. John Smith leading 14-11 over Tim Hovland and Mike Dodd. 1 point away from victory. 1 point away from their first win of the year. Last year, Smith Stokes had more wins than any team on the tour. However, Hovland and Dodd were right there in second place. Just a little bit behind them, and overall money won. St. John Smith will put it in play. Great shot by Mike Dodd. The set was way back, and actually that helped maybe Dodd hitting it around Stokes.
If the set is way off the net and you block, you help the spiker and you hurt your partner. You give him all kinds of room to shoot the ball into the court. Randy Stokes out of position on that play.
Two-hand set by St. John Smith. It's dug by Dodd. Oh, Stokes with some great play there at the net. That's a side out.
That play saved a point. Little tomahawk action right at the net, back and forth. Good dig by Dodd. And it comes right over to Stokes, who gets it. Back to Stokes, back to Hovland. Have to be in shape. Repetitive jumping.
Once again, we go to championship point. This time it'll be Randy Stokes putting it in play. Second time we've been there. Excellent and clutch shot by Mike Dodd, side out. If they should get to 14-all, you must win by 2. But right now it's 14-11, Smith Stokes leading. It's blocked by Hovland, and then he puts it down.
Lynn, earlier I mentioned one of the problems when you're facing Hovland, if you loop it over him, you can get it over him. But if you hit it a little too flat, you can't. That time, Smith shot a little too low. Hovland able to bat it back. As you saw, Hovland, a very, very gifted athlete. You have to loop it high over his head.
Ooh, critical mistake right there by Mike Dodd. The ball goes just out on the serve. Third time we go to championship point. St. John Smith will put it in play. And Hovland hits it through the hands of Randy Stokely. That's a side out. I think you can be sure of one thing on this. Hovland will put it in play. He won't serve out.
I think Smith may have touched the net on that play.
That's the call. That's a point for Hovland and Dodd.
Set perhaps just a little too tight. Smith trying to poke it over Hovland, which is tough to do. And now 1 point game.
Oh, Mike Dodd just dug in or leaning the wrong way. Can't quite come over and get it. So that's a side out.
There's a term in volleyball called a field goal. It goes right through your hands on the block. Watch Hovland in green. Watch his arms. Right through his arms and through. 3 points for the field goal kicker, but no block.
Fourth time they've served for the tournament win. And he hits it into the net. So, Smith-Stokely, so near and so far from that first one of the year.
Oh, another serve out by Dodd. That's two in a row.
Players feeling the pressure a little bit, maybe.
Well, there's such pressure on Hovland Dodd to get to 14 because that gives you a little breathing room. You have that 2-point cushion then. Another championship point for Smith-Stokely.
Bump set by Tim Hovland. St. John Smith digs it. And hits it down, and they can't get it up. Smith-Stokely finally win it. They win the Miller Lite New Orleans Open. It's their first one of the year, but it wasn't easy.